Merry Christmas, Langston residents.
Hi, Ted?
Howard! Hey, buddy. How's it going out there? Everything okay?
Yeah, fine. Ted, I need to speak to Liz. Could you get...
Oh, Howard, excuse me, but your wife's cookies are out of this world.
Who told you you can eat my cookies?
I'm just helping Liz out a little in the kitchen. She's making up a storm here.
Ted, I need to speak to my wife. So could you get her on the phone, please?
I think she's in the shower, Howard. Do you want me to go check?
No! No, that's fine. On your way out, just tell her I will be a few minutes late, but you shouldn't worry.
Oh, she won't worry. I'm here and... Oh, these cookies! I gotta get the recipe from Liz.
Put that cookie down! Now!
Hey, welcome in to the Week 16 semifinals weekly recap show for your favorite fantasy football league, Laces Out. Week 16 did not disappoint, that's for sure. Well, it did for some, I'll say. Personally, it was a bit disappointing. But without me in the picture, not making it about me, there was literally drama to the likes we have not seen yet in our league, which is fantastic. We had the highest highs served up with a cold side of heartbreak, which it sets up a championship for the ages. Honestly, it's so exciting. It's only a third season, but there's a really cool storyline, multiple storylines within this championship matchup here. Not that the past matchups weren't great, but this one should be a good one. We're all hoping for it. Let's get into it. All right, let's get into the Week 16 review. I just got off the phone with Dominic the Donkey. Actually, I had to pause this recording, and we'll get into why in a second. But we can review, so this includes all the consolation bracket teams, so it still does include the top 8 teams that made it into the playoffs. The average team score this week was 115.42. I think that's one of the highest on the season so far. So a lot of players going off on a lot of benches or teams, which is good. Teams over projection, 5. So 5 teams out of the 8 that played this past week beat their projection. If you weren't one of them, you probably didn't win. I can attest to that. Teams over 100 points, 6 teams over 100 points. I was not one of them, I could say that. And underdog wins, we had 2. Quick note, housekeeping, league dues, if you haven't paid me yet, are due. So it's $25 this season. That's what Dominic the Donkey called me to ask. I'm like, you don't have to worry about it. I'm going to owe you money next week because you're in the championship. So you either get $200 or $75, depending. So first place gets $200, second place gets $75, third place, whoever comes in third between Lewis and I, plays for free this year. They get $25 reward, which is the 2025 dues. So again, $25. You can Venmo me at cbriglia. Or PayPal, chrisbrigg@yahoo.com. All right, let's get into the semifinal matchup recaps. These get a lot shorter this time of year. I can't do all the consolation matchups, unfortunately, but let's stay focused on the players that are still in the picture here. First up, we had Dominic the Donkey, the number 8 seed, taking on the Pack, number 4 seed. Kind of opposite trajectories on the season for each team. Dominic the Donkey getting hot at the end of the year. The Pack somewhat stumbling into the playoffs, but still had a lot of boom potential with the players on their bench. However, in the end, Dominic the Donkey takes it for a shot at the title. 156.35 to the Pack, 92.78. Wah, wah. Dominic the Donkey delivered the most dominant performance probably of the postseason so far. I think that is the top scorer out of any team so far in the postseason, overwhelming the Pack by nearly 64 points. So there's no fluke here. Dominic the Donkey is the clear strongest team in the playoffs at this point, cleared the projection by a remarkable number, while the Pack just didn't have any luck, no spark. Quinshon Judkins RIP, snapped his leg in 3 places. If you're a team going for a championship, that's not the kind of stuff you want to see happen to your team. This was the second largest blowout in playoff history. After last week, when Dominic the Donkey set the record at a margin of 113.69 points last week over Al's Dumpster Divers, the Donkey now holds the top 3 biggest blowouts in league playoff history so far. So Dominic the Donkey coming in, making a statement on the back of Brock Purdy to George Kittle. What a stack to have come alive in the time you need it the most, combined for almost 70 points. George Pickens, he was one of the ones I would say overall was just a difference maker. If you're able to get George Pickens on your team, it seems like you've fared pretty well in fantasy football this season. So great picks that stayed. And, Brock Purdy was a waiver wire pickup. I remember the week Dominic the Donkey picked up Brock Purdy. So again, you never know when those little gems are going to come around and make your team better at what point in the season. Keep an eye on the waiver wire. Flops for the pack. Jason Myers, 2 points. Man, he was the number 1 kicker on the year. Just didn't have it. It's crazy when your team scores, almost 40 points, and you only have 2 of those as a kicker. Anyways, Colby Parkinson, tight end, underperformed, and the Eagles' defense and special teams also underperformed. I'm not going to put Quinshon Judkins on there because the dude broke his leg. Playoff impacts here. The Pack gets knocked out of the playoffs by the 8th seed for the 2nd season in a row, and Dominic the Donkey becomes the lowest seed in league history to reach the championship, knocking out a top 4 seed in easy fashion. So congratulations to Dominic the Donkey, going for his first title ever in Laces Out League history. Tune in to week 17 to find out what happens to Dominic the Donkey. All right, up next, we had the last 2 remaining teams, Dog Pound, taking on This Ain't Last Year, number 1. Final score. So I'm gonna set a little bit of a stage here. Lewis going into the week here. This Ain't Last Year, number 1. First playoff appearance, 1-0 in the playoffs, makes it through the quarterfinals. Dog Pound coming in as the 6th seed, just hanging around, getting wins when it matters the most all season long, not booming for super high scores, also not crashing for super low floor totals, right? Just had a really consistent, even year. And this matchup was kind of a microcosm of that. So this was the closest matchup in league history here for a shot at the championship. So talk about drama. Dog Pound pulls it out 120.91 to This Ain't Last Year, number 1, 120.45. So 0.46 is the margin of victory here. Is the closest matchup of all time. Congratulations to Dog Pound securing what came down to literally the final seconds of Monday Night Football, because Lewis, I believe, had the 49ers defense, which had a pick 6 right at the end of the game, put him within half a point of a win, but the score didn't budge. Dog Pound hangs on to it. All-timer here. This is not only the closest matchup of, like I said, the season by far, but of all time. So you're going to depend on the guys who pull it out right at the right time and just get you that win. And for Dog Pound, that was Jared Goff. A.J. Brown finally was kind of a ghost there mid-season, but started to come back as the Eagles started to come back right towards the end, as the good teams do. And then the Saints defense and special teams, this is where if you pick up on a hot kicker or a really good matchup for defense, it could save your season. And in this case, it did. 22 points from the Saints defense for Angelo, and tough luck for Lewis. My heart goes out to you. It's a hard one to lose. Jordan Addison, Trey McBride, Keenan Allen. Again, those were the underperformers. Those are the players, especially a Trey McBride. Those are your stars, right? Some of the other ones you could avoid an underperformance here and there. But when your stars don't show up to play in the fantasy playoffs, that's can make it difficult. So Dog Pound advances to the championship game by the smallest margin in Laces Out history, not even playoff history, but history, ending Lewis's first playoff run. This marks the first championship appearance for both Dominic the Donkey and Dog Pound. All-time record between Dog Pound and This Ain't Last Year #1 after this matchup, by the way, is 4-1.
With as much dignity as he could muster, the old man gathered up the sad remains of his shattered major award. Later that night, alone in the backyard, he buried it next to the garage. Now, I could never be sure, but I thought that I heard the sound of taps being played, gently.
All right, Week 16 awards. Beauty of the week goes to Dominic the Donkey, 156.35 points. Man, what a time to put up a score like that. Also, with that win, secures the Large in the Margin award, winning by a margin of 63.57 points over the pack. That is the fourth Beauty of the Week award for Dominic the Donkey this season. So sorry, I'm just looking at my notes here. 2025. That is the sixth Large in the Margin award for Dominic the Donkey. Now holds the record for most points scored by a playoff team going into championship week as well. So just on a heater. Congratulations to Dominic the Donkey. Al's Dumpster Divers, Beast of the Week, 69.68 points. That's the second Beast of the Week for Al. Molly secures her first Cuff and Link award in 2025 with a projected loss of 17.79 points. Ends up winning by 33.37. Great win for Molly, looking to secure a fourth place spot in the consolation bracket this week. And Dog Pound, fourth Anxiety Award of the week with a .46 margin of victory. That's the second week in a row. And now the closest matchup of all time for Dog Pound. Ties the record for most Cuff and Link awards in a season and most Anxiety Awards in a season at 4 apiece. Shout out to Dog Pound. All right, here we are. This is why we do this. We are going to look at the championship preview for our third season here. We have the number 6 seed Dog Pound taking on the number 8 seed Dominic the Donkey for the first ever championship featuring a number 8 seed and I think somebody outside of the top 4 or 5. So this is uncharted territory for our league, which is great. Two teams that have never been to the finals before. And best of all, father versus son. So the House of Briglia goes to battle here. To add some extra zest to this matchup as well, Dog Pound is 3-0 all time over Dominic the Donkey. So clearly the underdog. So let's talk about that. Dog Pound coming in as the 6th seed. A truly season-defining victory, winning by 0.46 points in Week 16. Has scored 1,267 points so far combined in 2025. Compare that to Dominic the Donkey's 1,514 points. There's a difference there. So the ceiling, so the highest that Dog Pound has got scored so far this year is 126.17, which was in the quarterfinals. So getting hot at the right time, hitting those ceilings. However, the lowest score is also relatively high for Dog Pound, so there's less volatility there. Dog Pound really hasn't had to rely on the explosions. Opponents have kind of matched up well with performances, so hasn't had to really dip into that, oh crap, I need 150, 160 out of my team this season. It's just broke that way for Dog Pound. Has truly survived the season. Again, been the underdog, but pulled out the most wins, right, with 4 league-leading Cuff and Link awards on the year. Also has 4 anxiety awards, so has won those matchups in very close fashion. Just the ultimate battle-tested, scrappy, I don't want to play you because something's going to break your way type of team. Is the underdog going into the, in the namesake, right? Is the underdog going into the championship here? But I wouldn't be as nervous given I know I've survived the amount of battles I have up to this point. This just might be another matchup in another week for Dog Pound, and they might just pull it out if they go into the week with that type of confidence. Let's look at the other team, Dominic the Donkey, the 8th seed, first ever 8th seed to make it to the championship. Defeats the pack by almost 64 points. Scores almost 160 points again on the season, right? Just surging, completely surging at the right time. Has to feel really good. A little beat up. There's some injury concerns there, I know, going in. But again, having scored 1,514 points on the season, you're in good company. That's a good place to be. It means your team's capable of some serious points when it's needed. So far, again, 2-0 in the playoffs this year. Makes it to the championship. Has a high score of 160 on the season, which was week 15 last week. So again, getting hot at the right time. However, has a floor of 75. So there have been times when the team hasn't gelled for Dominic the Donkey, not putting up those volatile numbers, and it just hasn't been there, which can happen to any team. But when Dominic the Donkey has won this year, it hasn't just been, I'm going to beat you by a few points. So it's literally the polar opposite of Dog Pound. You couldn't have a tale of two teams in more opposite places making it to the championship, but just annihilating and blowing out opponents, right? The most beauty of the weeks and the most large in the margin awards on the season. So you almost literally have the two polar opposite teams going at it in the championship this week. And on top of it, one is the son of the other. There's a father-son battle here that's just, again, you can't write it any better. It's amazing. I'm so excited about it. You have a team with almost freight train momentum going into the championship week, and then you have the ultimate battle-tested team in Dog Pound. There's a lot of storylines here. Will the volatility continue for Dominic the Donkey? Will he have George Kittle beat up his ankle, right? But has been a hero so far. Can Dog Pound's team spike at the right time while also maintaining that grittiness that got him here? Tune in starting Christmas Day to see who walks away with the championship and, more importantly, the trophy. All right, as we close it out here, going into our final week of the season, this is our Super Bowl, so I hope you're all excited. For those who are listening to this, I hope you're excited, because if you're still listening to this, you're probably pretty into it, which I appreciate. And it means a lot to the teams that get there. I can say if you care about fantasy football, you put in effort to make it to a championship, not even to win, but to make it there feels good, right? It's a long slog. We draft 2 weeks before the season starts. It's 17 weeks from that point on to make it to this point. We had 14 teams fighting it out over 14 weeks. That dropped down to 8 teams going into the playoffs to do even more battle over another 3 weeks. And now we're down to 2, right? It's the first time we don't have top 5 teams in the playoffs. So this is uncharted territory. It's a battle of 2 teams who have been to the playoffs before but got knocked out. It's a father versus son. It's George Lucas couldn't write a better script at this point. I'm going to leave you with a little Any Given Sunday, some Al Pacino here to close it out, bring us into the championship week. Merry Christmas. I love you all.
You find out life's this game of inches. So is football. Because in either game, life or football, the margin for error is so small. I mean, 1/2 a step too late or too early, and you don't quite make it. 1/2 second too slow, too fast, you don't quite catch it. The inches we need are everywhere around us. Hell yeah. They're in every break of the game, every minute, every second. On this team, we fight for that inch. On this team, we tear ourselves and everyone else around us to pieces for that inch. We claw with our fingernails for that inch. Because we know when we add up all those inches, that's gonna make the fucking difference between winning and losing. Between living and dying. I'll tell you this, in any fight, it's the guy who's willing to die who's gonna win that inch. And I know if I'm gonna have any life anymore, it's because I'm still willing to fight and die for that inch. Because that's what living is. The 6 inches in front of your face. Now, I can't make you do it. You gotta look at the guy next to you. Look into his eyes. Now, I think you're gonna see a guy who will go that inch with you. You're gonna see a guy who will sacrifice himself for this team because he knows when it comes down to it, you're gonna do the same for him. That's a team, gentlemen. And either we heal now as a team, or we will die as individuals. That's football, guys. That's all it is. Now, what are you gonna do?